Hello and welcome to Pursuit of Perfect System and my review conclusion for the Cyrus OneCast, which is a very interesting hi-fi component. And I want to start this review with a clap for Cyrus because the OneCast is a really very good product and I think it's going to make a lot of people and obviously audiophiles very happy. Now, when I first saw the Cyrus OneCast, I thought it was going to be a product designed in kind of a semi-stereotypical fashion, in a sense, an all-in-one streaming amplifier. And I think in some regards they have created that, but I think some of their design choices and some of the ways they've gone with the OneCast means it's not really a product designed for everybody. And I think it's probably an unrealistic expectation to be able to design a product that's going to suit everybody anyway. But that doesn't mean that it's not going to be for you, because it does deliver in a lot of really very key areas and it does have a lot of impressive tricks up its sleeve. Now, Cyrus have made some quite bold design choices with the OneCast, but they haven't overlooked the most important one, and that is sound quality. And that is the bit that has really impressed me the most for my time with it. Now, at the heart of the OneCast is a 100 watt per channel hybrid Class D amplifier, which is the fourth iteration of this amplifier design topology from Cyrus that we've seen progress throughout their one range of products, with a toroidal transformer based linear power supply at its heart. And it has a trick up its sleeve: speaker impedance detection, which means the amplifier makes little changes to itself depending on the impedance of the speakers that it's driving, and this is indicated by that very flash LED display that we see when we first turn the amplifier on. There's also a little click you get from the speakers as well. So I think that whole process and the whole idea seems very, very cool. Now, those sexy LEDs in the front of the OneCast is the bit that's obviously going to grab people's attention, but I actually think it's the rear of the OneCast streaming amplifier that is the interesting part. So let's take a look at the rear and I'll explain why. I think the first point of note is the two aerials, which actually form part of the product. They're not your usual typical screw-on type of aerials, and that was quite a surprise to me. And it shows that the OneCast is a wireless streaming amplifier. And you'll also notice that there is no network RJ45 typical LAN type connection, which means that it is a wireless streaming amplifier only, which is probably the first of Cyrus's bold design choices. From here, things get a little bit more interesting. On board the OneCast is a 32-bit DSD capable DAC, which means you can feed it digital signals from external products, such as over the HDMI connection, which means that you could plug into it from a TV, a Blu-ray player, or similar, which means you're going to boost your sound quality for all your TV shows or movies or more. There is an asynchronous USB input, which means you can connect a laptop, maybe an external streamer or similar, and there is an SPDIF and optical based digital connections. Again, maybe you want to connect an additional streamer, maybe a CD player or any other type of device to the OneCast. Moving down slowly, there are some analog inputs, which means you could maybe plug in a left and right analog connection from a home cinema based AV receiver or AV processor, allowing you to integrate the OneCast into a hi-fi home cinema joint type of setup. And there was also a moving magnet phono stage input. And I think all of this is excellent, fantastic flexibility, and means that the Cyrus OneCast could become the central point of a hub for a whole home entertainment system that you can either bolt on straight away or add on products over time as the hobby or your love for the hobby or interests change and develop, or maybe technology changes and develops. From here, I think things get even more interesting because the Cyrus OneCast is compatible with Google Assistant, Siri, and Amazon Alexa, which means you can control it via voice control or voice commands for song selection, album selection, zone selection as part of a multi-room setup, or you can control volume or anything else pretty much you want to control. And it works great. I've seen this working in the flesh myself. Now, when it comes to voice control. Voice control in hi-fi, I'm a little bit like your granny the first time you gave her a touch screen device and she was trying to turn the TV on with it. I'm very, very primitive. When it comes to voice commands, this is about as far as I go. Love, make me a cup of tea.
Make it yourself.
So if you've come here and you want to know more about the voice control aspect of the Cyrus OneCast, I'm very sorry to disappoint you. That's not something that I tested much myself. However, I have created a video for this before and I'll link it up there for you, where Managing Director of Cyrus, Simon Threefee, shows how the Cyrus OneCast works with Amazon, Google and Apple for voice control. And as I say, it works perfectly. So if you want to know more, check that video out there. On top of all this, the OneCast has AirPlay 2, Bluetooth connectivity and a good remote control. I really like this remote control. I've used it a lot and I much prefer this type of design remote control to the credit card style that we see with a lot of other hi-fi components. You cannot beat a good remote control, even in 2020. To set up and use the OneCast, you literally sign in to a Google Home account and then add the OneCast to your Google Home network. And from here, you simply cast to the OneCast from your favorite music streaming services. From within their apps, could be Spotify, Qobuz, Tidal, and you select the OneCast as a speaker to cast to, or whatever the Apple equivalent is called, and then a few seconds later the OneCast takes over the streaming and the phone or tablet that you're using literally just becomes a remote control. And I think this is the next brave decision from Cyrus, to use this type of setup or solution or system rather than using their own developed app for system control. But as a brave decision as it is, I think it's actually a very good idea, because it makes the OneCast much more simple to use, and it means you have access to all of the options and things and features that you're paying the money for from those favorite streaming services. Could be their playlists options, or it could be their discovery of new music features. These are all fantastic features that are generally better served from within the streaming service's own applications. And their applications are, you know, serious money invested solutions that generally work fantastically well and are generally extremely stable. And it's very difficult for, you know, hi-fi manufacturers to develop and continually develop apps at the same rate. So while I think it's a bold choice from Cyrus to go this route, I actually think there's a lot of merit in it, providing it works well. And I'm pleased to report, in the main, I had absolutely no problems using the OneCast in this regards, and it was mostly reliable. I did have a couple of issues streaming via Qobuz, and I reported these issues back to Cyrus and they've had a little look into them. But a little bit more discovery on investigation my end, an update of the firmware for my router seemed to iron out most of these little issues. But while on this point, one of the key features of the Cyrus OneCast will be over-the-air firmware updates, which is nice. Now, all the different setup and flexibility options, all the fancy LED lights on the front and all the voice control capability in the world doesn't stand for much if a product like this doesn't deliver for sound quality. And I'm very pleased to report the OneCast really delivers for sound quality, and it exceeded my expectations in this regard. I've created a video demonstrating how the OneCast was sounding as part of the review system, which you can see the bulk of behind me. And if you'd like to check that video out, and I suggest you do, because that creates a much better context for what I'm about to talk to you about now, the link will be up there. Go and check that video out. If I was to pick any areas of sound quality that impressed me the most with the Cyrus OneCast, I would say it was the mid-range and the sound stage. And I think that is because the OneCast has quite an easygoing sound presentation. It's quite smooth, very easy to listen to, which doesn't force a sound upon you. It allows you to relax into the music, and then the separation of the music, separation of the instruments, or different layering of the music is much easier to appreciate. The mid-range is also very smooth, but very detailed and quite bold at times. In general, the bass has good presence and good control, and the treble is also nicely detailed with a nice and just the right amount of sweetness, again creating a smoother type of presentation. And I think the overall sound presentation from the OneCast is very even-handed, and that all plays into a very engaging overall sonic presentation that you can easily listen to for long periods of time across lots of different styles of music. Inevitably, some audiophiles might want a bit more bass punch from the OneCast. Some other audiophiles might want more overall sound resolution, and other audiophiles might just want a little bit more excitement from a product like this. And again, I want to stress the fact that Cyrus have done a really great job here with the OneCast from a sound quality point of view. But while we're on that topic, I've found that to get the very best sound quality from the OneCast, feeding it from an external higher quality streaming based solution, or maybe even some local stored music via a USB stick, or maybe an external laptop or something like that, is a way of getting even greater sound quality from the Cyrus OneCast. And then we move on to the headphone amplifier built into the Cyrus OneCast, and it has another one of Cyrus's tricks up its sleeve. When you use the headphone amplifier, you get a Class AB amplifier that Cyrus say is high power and high voltage, and it uses the whole of that toroidal transformer linear power supply for the headphone amplifier. Very nice. Now, I started listening to the Cyrus OneCast as a headphone amplifier and DAC using the Audi's LCDX, and things started off very good. Plenty of power, a nice warm sound that's quite mellow and rounded sounding with good detail in the bass and a nice clean overall sound. But after longer extended listening sessions, the soundstage did feel a little bit congested and just a little bit narrow in terms of soundstage width. Now, actually turning the volume up helped with this and helped to increase the overall sense of space within the headphones, but not to a massive degree. So I tried a different pair of headphones that I thought might help to maximize all the benefits of the OneCast but create more soundstage. So I tried the Drop or Sennheiser HD6XX headphones, and yeah, straight away there was improved soundstage width, maybe some more soundstage space, but the drop in overall sound quality going to those headphones was too big for me to be able to listen to them for extended periods. So that's definitely not a combination that I would recommend. Going back over to the Audi's LCDX, that is a combination I could quite happily recommend. The headphone amplifier within the Cyrus OneCast is not one of the stars of the show, for me at least, with this excellent hi-fi product, but it's still pretty good. It's still probably more than good enough for most audiophiles who are going to want an all-in-one type of product. It delivers better than other solutions that I've tried, but maybe not quite as good as some standalone dedicated units. But what about some negatives for the Cyrus OneCast? Well, there isn't really anything of note, I think, at its asking price or its retail price. It does come in nice packaging, and it's easy to use, easy to set up, and easy to get along with. One potential niggle with the OneCast is those big rotary controls on the front. They do wobble a little bit if you try and wobble them, and they get dirty very, very easily from any type of grease that could be on your hands. But those potentially are moot points, because you could quite happily live with and use the OneCast without ever touching it. So it's difficult to see them as potential negatives. Maybe you could criticize the OneCast for having quite plain and simple styling, but I actually quite like the Cyrus logo on the top. I quite like what they've done with the sides of it, just to give it a little bit of a sleek styling. And then once you fire up those sexy LEDs on the front, I think the styling is really nice. So for my final thoughts of the Cyrus OneCast, it is a well-designed, well thought out, clever hi-fi product which either bridges the gap or is designed to offer more to anyone looking for a modern sound solution for improving the sound of their music or maybe even their TV. And it does it by offering high quality hi-fi sound. And I think I want to finish the review in the exact same place that I started, with a clap. Credit where credit's due. Cyrus, well done. The OneCast is a really excellent product. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. I hope you found it useful and helpful. And if you did enjoy it, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go and visit our website for hot news, other reviews and more. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Take care.